Hey guys, got a new story for you. Well, some of you may have already heard it, some of you may not have. Before we get started, guys, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, the bell to be notified when I put videos out, and share this because every child, no matter the age, needs the exposure. And this child, although he's not 4 or 5 or 6, he's still someone's child. This young man, this kid, he's 19 years old. His name is Dylan Rounds, and he's a good kid, good young man. And this is the story of him versus a network of squatters / meth heads stretching from Nevada into Utah. Now, he lives in Utah, guys. He got his grandpa's farm, and it was his life dream to work that farm. One day he was going about his business. He met a stranger on the side of the road. Stranger didn't have any shoes on, was asking him for a ride, asking him for this, that. Dylan, being the smart man that he is, told the guy, sorry, I can't help you. And he went on about his day. Later that day, Dylan's boots were found behind a mound of dirt near his farm. The only thing missing when people started hunting was Dylan, his wallet, and his phone. His truck and everything else was there at his farm. He had evidently gotten in touch with his grandmother earlier that day because it had started storming, and he was saying he had to go get his truck and get it in because I'm assuming there was seed in the back of the truck for his farm. His mom says he's very responsible, and he would not have left his truck sitting with the seeds in it. He's very responsible. He's a creature of habit. I mean, so much so, Dylan wore the same type of boots throughout his life. From time to time, he might have changed the style of boot that he liked, but when one pair of boots wore out, he would go and buy an identical pair of boots. He wore the same types of clothes nearly all his life. He was a good kid. He had worked that farm since he was 16 years old. He helped his grandpa, and then when his grandpa passed, he wound up with the farm. There were 2 men who worked on that farm with him. Their names were Dan and Jim. And other than that, it was Dylan. Now, from Saturday until Monday, when his parents finally made it out there, Jim and Dan were the only ones that were looking for him. Now, keep in mind, guys, not Dan, sorry, Don. The guy's name is Don. Keep in mind that Don and Dylan had problems like the week before. As a matter of fact, Dylan fired Don because they couldn't agree on many things. And evidently Don had some kind of prior arrangement with Dylan's grandfather where he worked for him or with him on the farm. But Dylan couldn't deal with it, and he fired him. So anyways, the people that were looking for Dylan would have been the people with opportunity to have hidden something if something had happened nefarious. And it's said that Don was the person that may have had reason to have done something to Dylan out of revenge or, hurt feelings, whatever. Now, this is all allegedly, guys. This is, coming through second and third hand information. Anyways, the guys that went up and searched for Dylan, they searched with a helicopter. They searched for nearly an hour, or did search for over an hour. They were looking for any sign of Dylan out in that desert. Anywhere where like the backhoe that they were looking for that was parked out there, that there was a man that was working for Dylan, doing some work for him, had left the backhoe out there. They were looking to see if there was any tracks or anything where it had been moved, maybe a hole that had been dug with it. Perhaps they may have buried Dylan to try to get rid of the body. But needless to say, even searching over an hour in a helicopter with 4 sets of eyes trained on the ground trying to find anything, there was nothing. They seen nothing. Now you ask, where's law enforcement in all this? Well, law enforcement isn't. Law enforcement isn't taking such a great interest in this story for some strange reason. I mean, they did originally when the parents called, or whomever called first, to have them come out and do a report and look into it and stuff. They came out, they did a search, the house, they found his truck, they found his, whatever they found at his house. They tried to inform everybody, oh, he's a young man, he probably just walked off, headed towards town. Maybe he got lost. But now, after it's been this long a time, they're still not being too eager to look into this. And the strange thing about it is, guys, is his farm and where he went missing is located in Utah. But it's the Nevada State Police that's doing the investigation. And that's simply because of the location of the farm and the last place he was seen or known to have been. And because it sits closer to the Nevada state line, and I guess the law enforcement on that side of the border than it does Utah, that's why Nevada is taking over the case. Well, that's why Nevada is dealing with the case. They're not taking it over because, as I said, they're not seeming too interested in even investigating it because they don't seem to think that anything nefarious has went on. But Dylan's mom and his dad know their son. They know what kind of person he is. They know how responsible he is. They know he would not just take off. He definitely wouldn't leave a truck full of seed out in the storm, out in the rain to be ruined. That was his livelihood. That was his dream, that he take over his granddad's farm. He wouldn't just leave it. A parent knows, and his mom says something's not right. We need to get his picture, his name, and his story out there, guys. Somebody knows something, and we've got to find out who it is. We've got to find out how there's a whole network of homeless people, meth heads, squatters that go from Utah all the way into Nevada. That every time law enforcement or anyone goes up there to try to look into this, they start showing up out of nowhere. And they've all told different stories about what's happened or what they think happened. And nobody even knows how anybody or any of them are finding out that there's even anybody up there. This is the desert and it's like way out in the middle of nowhere. How are these people just popping up and showing up? And they just evidently stand there and stare at whoever's there doing the investigation or whoever's talking. They just stare at them. And then, of course, some of them tell wild stories about what may have happened. But anyways, getting back to this, Dylan Rounds, he's 19 years old. He's a good boy, a good young man. He is someone's son. and he needs to be found, and or we need to find justice for him. Until next time, guys, hug your kids, hug your parents, and thank God for everything.